who was really behind the destruction of Safe Haven. While the prototype seems like the obvious suspect, looking closer at the evidence suggests another force, or maybe even someone else entirely, could be responsible. After going through all the clues, I think I've uncovered the true mastermind behind this mystery. To get to the truth, let's start by ruling out the less likely theories and work our way toward the strongest one, beginning with why the prototype may not have been responsible despite the game's implications. One crucial detail stands out: the safe haven remained intact until we arrived. If the prototype had truly intended to destroy it, why would he have waited so long? On top of that, the sanctuary's destruction appears to have been caused by an explosion, yet the prototype couldn't have used the explosives we had planted for such a task, since he explicitly states that he stole them to collapse the ground beneath us and Kissy Missy.
I've taken the liberty of retrieving those explosives from the Foundation. Thanks for collecting them.
Those aren't the way. I've put them to good use.
I'll find her.
As for you two, try to land on your feet.
As far as we know, the prototype does not possess any natural ability to cause explosions. This raises the possibility that another opponent, or perhaps a completely new character set to be revealed in Chapter 5, was responsible. However, there is currently little evidence supporting that idea. Instead, let's turn our attention to an already established character, Pianosaurus. Now, I know what you're thinking. He's dead, plain and simple. But what if, during Chapter 4's events, the prototype, using his known intelligence, managed to repair him, similar to how he may have revived Huggy Wuggy? Well, it may seem unlikely. Keep in mind that Pianosaurus received notable attention in Chapter 4's promotional material, appearing in an encoded image during the ARG and even having an entire teaser video dedicated to him. It feels off that Mob Entertainment would build up his presence this much only for his role to be reduced to a 20-second cameo and a single lore document. What if he returns in Chapter 5, battered and damaged, and it's revealed that he was responsible for the Safe Haven's downfall all along? Plus, having him return would also be a good choice for Mob from a business perspective, given all the love he's received from fans. Alternatively, if he is truly gone, then maybe one of his fellow musician toys is to blame. According to the Poppy Playtime merch store, Pianosaurus was released as part of a set featuring other musical toys, one of whom might have destroyed the safe haven to avenge their fallen friend. However, there isn't much concrete evidence to support this theory, but there is stronger proof suggesting that Pianosaurus himself could be the true culprit. A document about him found in the game states that he was designed for a role similar to Experiment 1160 Boxy Boo, whose primary task was to get rid of any employees or tourists who may have seen the wrong thing.
Now, we need to start tailoring that appetite of yours to flesh.
This directive resulted in Boxy developing an aggressive and hostile personality. If the same applies to Pianosaurus, just considering he was meant to have a similar job, it would explain why he immediately charged at us upon first sight. This violent nature could have played a role in the destruction of Safe Haven, possibly fueled by desire for vengeance against Doey the Doughman, who was responsible for his demise before being rebuilt by the prototype. Doey not only killed Pianosaurus, but also deeply cared for the Safe Haven and its residents, making him a prime target for revenge.
The toys out there in Safe Haven, they're my family.
But if Pianosaurus isn't the one to blame, another unexpected suspect emerges: Poppy. Although she's not the most likely culprit, there is still decent evidence suggesting she's guilty. For starters, Poppy and Doey clearly had opposing viewpoints on how to handle the prototype and all the horrific events that occurred at Playtime Co. in general. Doey even called her out for abandoning him and the other toys, despite her claims that she had no choice but to leave. But why does this matter? It's likely that being frustrated with Doey's defiance, Poppy may have orchestrated the Safe Haven's destruction, not necessarily to kill its inhabitants. I mean, we saw how displeased she was upon finding out that we killed Doey ourselves.
You! What did you do? Why did you kill Doey? Do you even understand what happened?
She may have just done it to force Doey and the other toys to flee out of fear and grief, removing them from the equation, thus allowing her to continue on with her own plans without bother. This would align with her often selfish tendencies, which were evident when she diverted the train to trap us in the factory so she could use our help for her own agenda. Furthermore, her complete lack of acknowledgement for the safe haven's destruction when we reunite with her near Chapter 4's conclusion could indicate that she knew exactly what happened because she was the one responsible. The most concerning part of this theory is that when Doey rushed outside to confront the prototype and never returned, Poppy showed little concern and immediately changed the topic to get us to further help with her plan. Typical Poppy.
No word from Doey. Whatever happened out there? No, he's fine. I'm sure of it. We shouldn't wait anyway. Head for the Foundation. Plant the explosives.
It was as if she didn't care about him at all, which further suggests that she may have played a role in the hideout's demise. However, there's still one major question. How could a small plastic doll possibly cause destruction? Unfortunately, there's not much definitive proof explaining how she would have physically carried out such an act. It's possible that she had Kissy Missy destroy the hideout. After all, Kissy is incredibly strong, as demonstrated during the Hour of Joy, and seems to blindly follow Poppy's instructions. This idea remains very speculative though. Besides, there's no hints as to how Kissy would have set it on fire and whatnot anyway, so due to the lack of strong supporting evidence, I don't believe Poppy was responsible. There is one more suspect that I believe is the most likely, and that character is us, the player. I know how crazy that sounds, but our character already appears to have a not-so-great track record. I mean, they literally murdered a bunch of living toys literally made from orphans, so how could we be responsible for this disaster? The key moment to recall is when we had to repair the generator with Ollie's assistance. At the end of the chapter, it was revealed that Ollie was actually the prototype mimicking a child's voice. Given the prototype's nature, it's hard to believe he would truly help us fix something that benefits his enemies. That's why I don't think he did, at least not in the way we thought. And if you're following my reasoning, you might think this contradicts the whole idea of this video, but there's an important difference. While the game suggests the prototype directly caused the wreckage, this theory argues that he actually tricked us into doing it for him. This wouldn't be the first time the prototype used others to do his dirty work. Who could forget the Hour of Joy? In short, I believe the prototype rigged the generator to explode after a set time, knowing we would unknowingly trigger the destruction, sabotaging our own allies in the process. He may have tampered with the generator's inner workings through the walls and set the trap that way. Otherwise, if he had direct access to the safe haven, he likely would have destroyed it himself right away, and since we know the prototype is a technological genius, it makes sense that he could have pulled this off.
The prototype seemingly disassembled the digital alarm clock within his room and utilized the battery, along with several other components, to create a laser pointer, which he then fired into the security camera, disabling it.
Just to provide more evidence, it should be considered how strange Ollie sounded after the generator was supposedly fixed. If this theory is correct, it would explain his suspicious tone of voice during that moment.
It's done. We did it. Good.
So, what does this mean for Chapter 5? If we were indeed tricked into unknowingly destroying the safe haven, it means we need to be incredibly cautious about any contraptions we interact with moving forward. Who knows? The prototype may have set up countless traps within other machines, ensuring that anyone who tries to oppose him ends up assisting him instead. What do you think caused Safe Haven's destruction? Let me know in the comments, and also check out this video here and subscribe.